What is up, Retromaniacs? Welcome to Short Prints. My name is Mike. His name is Joe. His name is EP. We're here to talk about cards. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about focusing your PC. I know this is something that kind of hard for some people. Like, I don't know who we're talking about, but yeah, some people, it is kind of a hard thing, though. There's a lot out there, and
Look at
a
all
lot
of
of
that
players
stuff.
we like, a lot of teams we like, a lot of card sets we like. Gonna try to figure out how it is that you end up deciding on how to focus it and how to stick with that. So, uh, first thing I guess we should get into is like Joe, how did you decide you wanted to do the Tom Brady collection?
Um, well, for me, it came down to that's why I got back into cards was looking for Brady rookies. I knew I opened up a bunch of stuff in 2000. Unfortunately, more stuff in 1999. But I opened up a lot of stuff in 2000, and I came across some Brady cards. We had been texting about Brady quite a bit. I had him on my fantasy teams at that point, right? He was helping me win fantasy championships. So as I started going through it, I'm like, this would be a fun thing to do. I can pick and choose some of the rookies I like, but also Brady cards should be fairly not the super high end stuff like the playoff contenders tickets and things like that, but for the most part, they should be pretty steady. And it doesn't feel like as soon as I buy them, they're going to lose half their value, right? So for me, it was a little bit of the nostalgia of collecting back in 2000. Like if I come across a set that I know I opened, I want to say it was like playoff prestige. Well, I opened a few packs that I didn't get a Brady, but I'm like, oh, I should get a playoff prestige Brady. That would be fun because I
Mhm.
opened some of that stuff back then. But then tied into that, I wanted to focus on something that I knew wasn't going to is like driving a car off a lot, it loses half of its value as soon as you pull it away. One of those situations. So a little mix of the investment, I guess you could call it part of it, but also just the nostalgia part from 2000 and opening packs then.
Now, EP, you're on the other side of this. I know you've struggled in the past to be able to figure out what or how to do a PC. You just want everything, right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Like I will go out of my way. Like I will buy pretty much any Griffey that I see, like any kind of Griffey, whether it's even a licensed card or not. Like I'm picking up Griffeys. Barry
That's saying
Sanders.
something right there.
Yeah. Barry Sanders not as much, but it's still like if I see a Barry Sanders card, I'm going to pick that up. Same with Reggie Jackson. Like these are like and Vince Carter. Like these are again super popular players, and they're super popular when I was collecting, and they were kind of like my favorite collections. I don't own any high end stuff of any of them really. I just I have like one Reggie Jackson bat card that is probably my most expensive card in the set, but it's probably not even $100. It might be $100. But yeah, so that's my thing. But my other issue is that I really like the sports and a lot of the players in them. So I don't just collect those. When I see a cool Barry Larkin card, I want to keep the Barry Larkin card. When I see a really cool, I'm trying to think of an NBA player that is not even a superstar, like Muggsy Bogues. Like when you keep Muggsy
I
Bogues
was
cards.
weirdly going to
So,
say Muggsy Bogues.
yeah,
I swear to
yeah,
God.
yep. And in football, Jamal Anderson. There are just like I respect a lot of players. I saw them do awesome things on the field, and I like to have when I see a really cool card of that player, I decide I need to keep it. And so I have from going through all my stack sale stuff, it's like thousands of cards. I have a stack next to me of like probably 200 cards that I was like, this I'm not going to sell this for 50 cents. I'm going to keep this and just put it
Oh,
aside.
Yeah.
So yeah, that can be a problem.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like it is a little bit of a problem when you want to sell cards too. If you like too much, then you don't sell what you should be selling, and you have a lot harder time making money back on the stuff you bought
Yep.
because you end up keeping half of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what I'm one of the benefits for me, I've said this all along, is I had a card shop. So, from the, you know, when I was younger, I collected George Brett cards, but from the time where I opened up my card shop until the time I closed, I didn't really have a PC per se. Like I didn't even really collect a whole lot of cards. We talked last week about some of the cards that we had collections of thinking they were going to be worth something. I did do that from time to time, but I didn't have like a consistent PC because I was selling cards like that. I had to pay the bills. So it really wasn't a lot of choice going into it. I just had to do it. And I think that mentality kind of just carried with me. So I don't have that you have of, oh, well, I will want to sell that, but it's kind of cool. So maybe I don't want to sell it. And, I can't necessarily relate to that struggle, although I understand it. And it is tough to get out of. Like, how do you decide? Wow, how do you? I guess we should move the discussion into, okay, if you're in that situation, how do you pare it down and focus? Like, how do you get there?
Well, I just want to make a comment quick on the last point, Mike, is, you talked about it's easier for you because you owned a shop and you had to get rid of everything. I've mentioned it like kind of in passing on the podcast before, I think, or during short print, but I had a house fire back in the late 90s. Everything was gone, literally everything. The house went to the ground, and it really changed my perspective on what I needed to have. What the ability to like buy things or sell things or whatever. To me, it's like, well, I had nothing at one point, literally nothing. Lost my comic book collection, my card collection for the most part. So for me, it's a lot easier. It's like, well, I don't need this stuff. Like, I could sell it if I had to, as cool as it could be. I'm used to not having it. So I do have a different perspective when it comes to collectibles and things like that.
I remember feeling so bad for you for losing your entire collection. Like, I remember being like, oh my gosh, that's like the worst feeling. Like
yeah. Like, and the worst part is I have these false memories of, oh, I should have this. And then I'm like, oh, I probably did. And it's actually
pre-fire or post-fire.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of it actually recently I've gotten a little bit more into comic books. And there are comic books I know I had from like the early and mid 90s that are worth a little bit of money now, not huge, money, but I'm like, oh, I definitely have that book. And I'll look at the little short box I have of comics and be like, oh, no, I don't. That was definitely pre-fire. So, it definitely screws with your head a little bit on that. In terms of how I decided to pare it down, like that kind of plays into it a little bit. I'm super focused. We've talked about this before. It's like when people say, oh, is that card you're selling available for trade? And I'm like, oh, I have a really small PC, man, unless it's a Tom Brady rookie card, a Pitt player in a Pitt uniform. I don't want them in their pro uniforms, or some random 90s comic book cards. I'm really not looking to trade. Like, if you have those very specific things, we can talk. So for me, I know it comes down to money, and I think it should come down to money for a lot of people and paring things down. Like, you can't buy everything. There's just too much cool stuff out there. So that's how I decided to pare it down. I put myself not so much on a budget, but I know I'm willing to spend X amount of dollars. And if I'm spending more than that, then it might get out of hand.
Yeah, I know. Back in 2012, when I was buying the cases, I had that mentality where I need to sell this stuff, and it bled over into a lot of my other cards too. Like I was in that mode, and that's kind of part of the reason why I kind of launched this case project that we talked about on the other the normal podcast. That I just that helps me to focus on the numbers game and realize that those sorts of things. And I've also took it upon myself to go and buy some binders and binder pages, and I'm going to limit myself to 9 cards per player. So if I find a bunch of Eric Davis cards, there's gonna be 9. Maybe there's an upgrade or downgrade, but that once that card goes out, like I'm gonna sell it. So I'm gonna limit myself to 9 per player, and that I think that will help me, because it will help me to continue to have the cards of these players. They'll be tucked away in a binder, but I can limit myself to only the 9 and think to myself, is this better than the 9 that I already have? No, it's not. And I can add it to my stack sale stack.
Okay, so my question is, are you going to limit the number of players that you can have 9 cards of? Because are you really focusing anything if you're not limiting the number of players? You're limiting what you collect of each thing. But if you're collecting 9 of a million different things, that's still 9 million things you have. So
yeah, but it's better than collecting 100 of 9 million things.
I feel like that's kind of the junkies' way of admitting that they're stopping what they're doing. Well, I'm
okay with that. I'm
going to do 9 of these, but
I only smoke when I drink. It's kind of that mentality. We're going to come back in a month or 2 months or whenever EP does this, and we're gonna see that entire bookshelf behind him covered with the 3-ring binders. EP, what's that? Oh, that's my million cards.
There are actually only that's not like I collect like 20 players from every team or anything like that. There is there's a list of players like Eric Davis and Ron Gant who aren't like Hall of Famers, but I have a number of their cards.
I feel like if you have Ron Gant in your binder, you're probably gonna have quite a few binders with quite a few.
Ron Gant was like a 40-40. He's like 30, like he was almost 40-40. Like he was like almost the second 40-40 guy.
I mean, I know Ron Gant. No disrespect to him. He was a fine baseball player, but collectability wise, I'm just saying, if you have a Ron Gant page in your PC, I'm guessing they probably run pretty deep. We're probably gonna see, I don't know, what do you think, Joe, like 200 binders behind him by the time this is done? Or
I'm planning for only like 3 binders.
You know what your barometer should be, EP? It should be, does Joe Day know who this player is?
No, because I would.
If Joe Day doesn't know this player,
you'd save a lot of money.
Players. Yeah. I have no baseball players whatsoever.
No, you have like Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, you'd have Mark McGwire.
I don't know if I'm
all these steroid guys I'm mentioning.
Yeah, I don't know if I would keep any Bonds, Sosa, or McGwires. So.
Oh, okay. But Ron Gant, baby.
Okay, so like, how you guys like? Again, 2 different ways of doing your PC here. So I'm interested, like. How do you decide what you're going to put in your PC, Joe, compared to how you're going to decide, EP, what goes in yours?
Sometimes everything's a PC until it's not, right? So like I have a Tom Brady PC, but I'm buying some other stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to put my Donruss Elite rookie up for on eBay right now. Like I move things out to move things in. But much tighter than EP does. It sounds like, like I'm gonna move that Brady card because I know I can get, say $900 for that card, and I can pay off some of the stuff. So for me, it comes down financially. Like I don't want to spend money. I don't care what my collection is or what I want my PC to be. I don't want to spend so much money that I need to dig into real money. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm fine spending the fake money, the money that I've been spending on stack sales and things like that. I will say though, if something comes along that's really, 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 really cool, that Bert Emanuel PMG card, it was really, really cool. I don't really PC Bert Emanuel. I have a few of his cards, but it's not like a focused thing. But I saw a really, really cool card of his. So I'm like, I'm going to buy that card. But then I did a stack sale, like literally a week later to pay for that card. So a lot of it for me comes down to the finances of it. Taking
money from one part of your card hobby that you've gotten rid of and then transferring it into something else.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm trying to do with, I just had a comic book delivered. I said to you guys on the pod, that comic book was not cheap. It wasn't super expensive, but it's like, oh, you know what? If I'm going to add that to my PC, that little extra flair of my PC, right? I need to sell something to make up for that.
Mine is my collecting is very, very different in that when I'm buying cards, especially like for stack sales, I'm paying 10 cents, 20 cents a card. So when I'm going through these cards and I find a card that is a PC card, I'm paying 20 cents for this card. So it's not going to cost me almost nothing. It's not even a quarter. You know what I mean? You can't buy anything with a quarter right now. Even I don't think bubblegum is even like 50 cents now. If you try to get one out of those,
those damn newspapers are too expensive nowadays.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, like, so they're 20 cents each. And, so for me, it's not about an expense thing. It's about the volume thing for me. It's like, so when it comes to figuring out these,
look at that room.
Yeah.
And there aren't even any binders there yet.
No, not yet. That's because I ordered them that they haven't come in yet. So
they're not cheap.
Actually, I got them for like $10 a piece, which was better than some of the ones that I've seen. So I was okay with that. So they should be coming later this week. So anyhow, that's so the price is not an issue for me. It's the volume and just trying to figure out, so I will be able to tell myself, is this better than the 9 cards I already have or not? And I should be able to tell right away. And then that goes back in that. So instead of me putting it in this pile over here, it goes in the stack sale box to be sold.
Would you ever consider saying, okay, I am going to limit myself to 9 cards and 100 players.
I would think I'd be under 100, but yeah, yep.
I'm just throwing in like a random number out there. But have you ever considered like making it a hard line number? Like I will, if I'm going to do somebody else, I'm going to drop one I already have. Like
I didn't think about that, but that'd be fine. Like I don't think I'll get to 100. So I don't
never would do it. I guarantee you he's going to have more than whatever number of binders he bought. Like 1 year from now, we come back here, he's going to have twice as many.
No more than 3 binders. Put it that way. There's no more than 3 binders.
Or his binders are going to be like ripped apart because they have so many pages.
I'm going to be taping binders on top of binders to make like a Frankenstein binder.
The volume thing is a really good point too. It's like for me, I really hate things out of like EP. Your little setup there stresses me out to no end.
That's delicious. That's delicious to me. I love it.
All right,
it makes me happy that you're so upset by it.
So
it's my little.
I know, like. So like that's why I don't want a huge PC because I don't want to have to keep like track of things. You know, like it's almost like
what Joe's really trying to say is he's a neat freak, and if you have too many cards, you can't be neat.
Right.
Like, really.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, whatever works for you. Like, I'm not judging.
That's a big,
I'm just saying,
a big part of it. You know, all my cards are collated in number by set. I have a spreadsheet of what cards I have.
Mike's reaction is great.
If someone said, "Hey, can you find me card number 212 in Upper Deck Encore from 1999?" I'm like, "I got you." Like it's alphanumeric everything, right? And there is it's box 6. Okay, let me go down to my basement.
I have heard about people like you, but I've never really met one in real life until I met you. But yeah. Wow. Why?
Yeah.
Mike, how long would it take you to collate all your cards?
Oh, see, that's different though.
I wouldn't be able to do it. No, like even stuff I want to collate, I can't collate. I don't know how much Topps Chrome Anniversary opened. I have a ton of that. I want to put a set together. My problem is I don't want to collate it to figure out what I need for a set. Like, what do you do? Like, I don't know.
I will say I do have a very loving partner who went through, ironically, Upper Deck Encore and Upper Deck, the 2 I had the most of. And my dining room table, he was collating it. It was fantastic. I said, we need to get these out of the den. And this is what I need your help with. And he did it. So I can't complain.
So 2 neat freaks together.
Can
really get a lot of cards sorted.
You really can.
Okay. So do you guys have any special way that you limit yourself when you're talking about your PC? Like, this is kind of a cool discussion. I know I'm not adding much about mine, but like, I kind of like the juxtaposition here of this guy in the corner that is all organized and only wants a small streamlined PC, and the guy down here that just wants everything. Yeah. So but how do you guys, each of you, limit yourselves in the way that you collect for your PC?
I really need to like something. To me, I really, really need to like it. And so 90MU, for example, I really wanted to get a box of that. I remember having it when I was a kid. I really, it's something I really, really wanted. So I bought a box, opened it up, sent some cards to PSA, the whole idea to pay for it, right? And then I put my set together. The best looking cards that weren't PSA 10s, the best looking cards. I would put my 3-ring binder. My binder is neatly placed, in a cabinet along with my 91MU. For me, it's just, again, the word of the day for me, streamlined. It is very, very streamlined. And every card that I have beyond my master set, I have on eBay right now. And I'm just going to try and get rid of as much of it as I can. And then at some point when the sales stop coming, it's going to be sold as a lot. I'm going to see if anyone needs any, like EP, if you randomly decide to open up a box of that and you want to put a set together, I will save those for that. But it's going to be sold. It's going to be gone in some way, shape, or form here in the next, probably a few months.
EP?
Again, limiting when you, I am easy to impress. That's the bottom line. If I see a movie, I usually like it, at least the first viewing.
Yes, we know.
So other than that Garfield movie, which was pretty
Oh
bad.
my God,
But-
the Garfield movie.
that we saw in the theater.
That was bad.
Yeah.
As a group.
Yeah, as a group, we saw it in the theater. But yeah, so like I'm pretty easy to impress. So I see a lot. I just sold another one of those cards. Sorry, another Topps card just sold. They're just selling like crazy. So anyhow,
Focus.
but-
See,
sorry,
I'm noticing the
Yes.
difference in why
Okay.
you collect like you do right now.
Yes. Well, that's one of the issues. That's why like the limiting thing. Like I like, oh, this is a cool Ron Gant card. This is a cool Ron Gant card. This is a cool Ron Gant card. But you know where they are? They are in different boxes
Mhm.
all around the EP universe. So again, this putting these in the binders will help me to know, okay, well, these are the Ron Gant cards I have, and these are the ones that I want to keep, and it'll make it better. So when I find the Ron Gant card, I'm going to put it in the thing.
You know, Mike, I'm going to push back on you saying he sounds like a drug addict. You know what he sounds like? Have you ever watched the show Hoarders?
Yeah.
Where they come in
Yeah.
and they say, well, I need this
Well, why are you
card.
throwing that out?
Yeah, why are you throwing that
I
out?
could use that.
Right.
Those are perfectly good.
Right.
I have mixes of boxes where they are like half collated and the sets are together, then other boxes where there are just random cards all
Those are
together.
perfectly good Ron Gant cards. Why would you want to get rid of those?
And they've
Somebody
been
could use
underneath.
those.
They've been underneath like 20 other boxes. And you haven't seen those Ron Gant cards in 10 years.
Oh yeah,
But you're like, oh well, I can't get rid of those.
They're there.
Yep.
Never knew you had them, but you can't get rid of them. Oh yeah! Wow, interesting. Like you are definitely two different collectors.
We are very much and I'll tell you this. I bet you more people are like him. I bet you more people.
I would imagine, yeah.
You know, like card collectors, a lot of the time, very scatterbrained and kind of OCD at the same time. Like there's certain things that they're going to be really, really meticulous about, but there's certain things that is just going to be all over the place.
And they like their cards and they're not going to.
And they like their cards and they're not going to get rid of them. Where again, I think your experience as a dealer and card shop owner, my experience with my personal experience with my house, I really think that kind of shaped us into being able to say, oh, I can get rid of this. This is not something that I definitely need to hold on to. And it helps us streamline what we actually collect.
My problem is, if you look over my shoulder here, I buy too much. I buy more than I can really sell at any given moment. So yeah, I'm kind of like EP, but I don't want to keep my stuff. I want to sell most of it.
Right.
I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. So yeah. Okay. Well, I think that was a fun little discussion about stuff and the differences in PC collectors and differences in people's lifestyles and how they like to have cards piled up around their houses, or they hate it so much they're willing to collate everything and get rid of it. So I prefer to just hide mine most of the times in one room under tables, try to keep
you
it.
Open up one of Mike's spare rooms and just get like
I want to have it, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. I want it to be hidden. So yeah, that's kind of.
If you don't open up that door, you're good. Yeah, exactly. If you don't open up that one door,
you don't want to see my mess of cards back there. Don't come in the room.
Yeah.
I have plenty of rooms in this house. You don't have to come and look in this one. So. All right, guys, that was a fun discussion. We'll be back next week. Take care.
See you, boys.